So this being the first show in 2 years, what was it? What was the atmosphere like to be back, and what was it like for you guys to be back?
Well, it was exciting. There was a lot of energy. It's an interesting community, right? It's a lot of fun, right? It's a lot of influencers. It's a lot of architects. It's designers. It's kitchen dealers. You're bringing all sorts of different groups of people together. So there was a lot of energy and a lot of excitement, right? Because people have not had a chance to interact with each other, similar to primetime.
It's just great to be amongst a group of people that are, they're really engaged with their business and they put their best foot forward.
Welcome into the Independent Thinking Podcast. This is your host, Rob Stott. This first portion of the year, the first 6 weeks or so of 2022 has been incredibly busy across all of our verticals here at Nationwide. You think back to early January and CES for the consumer electronics team, and then you had the Las Vegas market for our F&B team. Of course, PrimeTime's in there, and then right after PrimeTime, a couple members of our appliance team had the opportunity to go from Phoenix right out to Orlando for the Kitchen and Bath Industry Show, an international builder show, obviously KBIS being part of the National Kitchen and Bath Association's portfolio, and seeing what's going on there. So it was quite the first couple of weeks of the year, and here we are. We had our CES podcast with the CE team, talked Las Vegas market while it was going on, and now we get the chance to talk with John Lang and John O'Halloran, our outdoor and luxury gurus here at Nationwide, about their experience at KBIS, and coming right off of PrimeTime, going to that show and seeing the differences, between them, how some of the brands that you saw in Phoenix, how they present themselves a little differently at KBIS, and awesome to talk to them too, seeing what the trends that they're seeing come out of that show, and how busy it was for them, opportunities for our dealers, going into the rest of this year and into 23 and beyond, and just cool. It's obviously a lot of what we saw at PrimeTime was the focus on experience between our new luxury university format and the backyard, PrimeTime backyard for our outdoor vendors, and listening to John and John talk about how that carried over to KBIS. So really cool conversations. They spotted a lot of trends, spotted a lot of new product, and really dove into this show with them. So it was just a cool conversation, and one we're happy to share here. So let's just dive into it. This is John Lang and John O'Halloran talking about KBIS and PrimeTime here on the Independent Thinking Podcast. All right, we're back on the Independent Thinking Podcast, and no rest for the weary. That's the quote, right? You guys, we're hopping right into it. It's been nonstop since post PrimeTime, and I'm excited to have two guys who, the F&B team might have something to say about this, but have been some of the widest travelers, since PrimeTime. But no, Mr. John O'Halloran and Mr. John, the John and John podcast today, J and J. We're hopping into it, and I just appreciate you guys, taking some time and finding time, I guess, really, to sit down with me and have a little chat here today.
Yeah, thanks, Rob. We're excited. John and I have been obviously on the road quite a bit, even jumping out of PrimeTime, out of plane, getting late into Orlando on Tuesday night, so we can spend a good amount of time at the Kitchen and Bath show. But we're excited to be here to talk a little bit about some of the things that we saw, and some of the exciting things that our members can expect to see here in the future.
Absolutely. But before we got, obviously KBIS was a big thing coming out of it. Before we jump into that, I know nice to hear you guys were able to get out of there before all the waste management craziness and the hole-in-ones and beer bottles being thrown, things like that. But no, we were in Phoenix, and you mentioned it. We were there for PrimeTime for a good week. To both of you, have you had a chance to kind of digest and reflect on what that experience was like? Because I know, we got a lot to talk about between the reworked luxury university and PrimeTime backyard. How was it? Just O'Halloran, we'll start with you. What's your reaction to sort of how that week was?
Well, it was a great week. Any chance we have to get in front and to engage with the membership is really, it's the highlight, right? It's I call it, the Super Bowl, for us. We did some things differently on the luxury side. The first thing that I'll mention that was very exciting is we did announce 2 new partnerships on the luxury to fill into our luxury strategy. So, we've got some great partners with Monogram, Fisher Paykel, and we made a great announcement during the merchandise session that we now have a strategic partnership with Decor and with Thermador. So that was really, really exciting to do. We're constantly working, trying to find the right strategic vendor partners that make sense to support our membership and that want to incrementally support our members. And we know we have them with Decor and with Thermador. So it's a complement to the vendors that we already have. And then we did something also different too. With Luxury University, we launched at PrimeTime in August, which was more of a classroom type atmosphere. We wanted to, luxury is about experience. So we wanted to change it up a little bit and bring Luxury University to the expo floor and kind of create an experience. So during the day on Monday, we did a special invite only event for Monogram retailers in the Monogram booth. And we had a wine sommelier demonstrate, right, the proper way to open a bottle of champagne, which is wicked, right? I mean,
with or without a machete, mind you.
Well, he did the traditional way, but then he demonstrated everybody how to do it with a machete, right?
Yeah.
Which is so cool.
Unreal.
So we had an opportunity to engage with their executive team, our members did, and to really to cheers the success we've had with Monogram in 2021 and really celebrate the opportunities it's going to bring our members in 2022. So that was really exciting. And then with the launch of our new partnership with Thermador, we had a special cocktail experience event at their booth later in the day on Monday. And what was really neat is, BSH was not participating in KBIS this year, but we were fortunate enough to have them participate at PrimeTime. So we had their senior vice president of sales, Chris Kaiser, as well as their CEO, Christopher Van Nagel. So that was really exciting for us, and to have the engagement and experience with our members. So a lot of really neat things we did. We look to expand on as we continue. With PrimeTime, it was the biggest PrimeTime we've ever had with luxury, and how do we keep raising the bar? That's the question. Yeah. So we look forward to kind of taking that challenge on.
Absolutely. Lots going on the luxury side. And I know, Mr. Lang, outdoor, you had some really awesome things happening too. Talk us through what PrimeTime was like for you.
Thanks, Rob. It's not very often we have a venue that allows us to do experiential cooking with outdoor products, and our vendor partners look forward to it. It's a lot of extra work on their behalf, but our members especially look forward to it because it's a relaxing atmosphere. They get a chance to see the experts cooking, learning from them, certainly tasting their food, smelling it, really touching all the senses, which is exactly what we hope that they're doing back at their stores during promotional periods with their customers. So I love the backyard opportunity that we had in Phoenix. Like I said, it doesn't happen very often. We hope it happens again in August in Orlando at the hotel we'll be at. So that part's great. The funny thing is John O'Halloran works the luxury side with champagne and machetes. My folks are working with beer and cutlery knives. So it's kind of just the difference between the two of us.
Just a little different, but yet there's something that, relates to both of you guys is you talk about the experience, right? And I think of, what the experience was like being in the Monogram booth and being with Thermador during those the events that they held, and it was about how you create that in-store experience, right, for the customer on the luxury side. And then same too goes for the backyard and kind of creating all of those sensory things going on between the smells and the tastes of all the delicious food that was being cooked. And I mean, it really boils down to you guys showing during PrimeTime what retailers can be doing to create that experience to entice customers.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. And it's been challenging because of COVID, right? So a lot of these things have not been in play. So I think it's a great example of what members, can be doing, but also, hey, let's try to, as people are more comfortable, let's try to get back to that, because I think the experience side of our members, right, and what they can offer consumers is one of the big differentiators between them and say like the big box stores, right? So so it's exciting. And at the backyard barbecue, I have to say, it was awesome. It really was.
I've never seen meatloaf be smoked before, and that was just mind blowing and eye opening to me. So but between that and all the other things, it was really cool, really cool.
Yeah, I love the fact that the vendor partners that have pit masters on their staff, come and cook for us, like Curtis at Traeger. He's a world champion pit master. We had Vision Grills there, which was a brand new vendor of ours. We're excited to have them aboard. They had Damon and Lou, husband wife Holter from Croy Valley there. They too are pit masters. They too compete nationally and on TV. In fact, I just heard this week that Vision Grills is going to now be on Hell's Kitchen. They're
Cool.
going to be using their grills and the new gas insert that goes inside of their grill to actually be able to cook and show how you can cook with gas on a Kamado grill. So just really appreciative of all the vendor partners and the talent that they brought and the food that they laid out.
Hey, me too. And I'm sure our members are too. And that's kind of what I wanted to ask next is, to both of you, what kind of feedback are you hearing from members about what those experiences were like for them?
I'll go first, I guess. What we heard from a lot of vendors early on in the show is that the attendance was down a little bit at PrimeTime from normal, but the folks that were there were much more engaged. They wanted to learn more about the products. They were signing up as new dealers or committing to furthering discussions as soon as they got home. They were very much, and I keep using the word engaged because they really were engaged and really, they had the opportunity, a little better opportunity to talk to vendors because there was lesser attendance. So they were able to get around, have longer discussions, deeper discussions with the people they needed to. So that part of it was great, even though the attendance was down a little.
Yeah, I mean, I think John said it all. I mean, really, it was a great opportunity for our members, and that's what I keep hearing, to engage with the right people that they wanted to interact with at the show, right? So if they're having a challenge, they had the executive team there to go and express the challenge with them to try to find a solution. If there was opportunities, they were looking for new vendor partners or wanted to expand the relationship. Luxury is a lot of excitement. Our business and luxury as a channel is grown over the last year about almost 20%, right? And so it continues to grow. So there's a lot of interest in members that maybe are not carrying luxury appliances to try to get involved in that business. So it's an opportunity because it's not a light switch, right? It takes time to plan. It's a significant investment, but it's a great opportunity to start those conversations with the right people. So it was very positive.
No, that's awesome. And I mean, I think we kind of hear, and this is a nice segue too, into talking about other shows, is that, that's kind of been the vibe right now, right? Is that show attendance, we're in a weird spot with COVID and everything going on. And, mandates starting to come down, but still attendance is a little hesitant from people in terms of getting out. I mean, we saw CES 20% of the normal attendance there. So that's crazy to think about. But, I know that, to both of your points, the attendance that is there, the people that are there, they want and they're getting those meaningful interactions with those key players. And that brings me to KBIS. And I know you both, I don't know if you had time to do any laundry in between. So I imagine you packed for the show. But you, like you said, you went right from Phoenix out to Orlando and what they were doing out there at KBIS. What was the show like? First time, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think they got one off in 2021, obviously, but 2020 was the last time they had the show. Did they squeak it in time?
Yeah, I believe 2020 was the last time they had the show, right? John was there. I was not there,
but so this being the first show in 2 years, what was it? What was the atmosphere like to be back? And just before diving into specifics about it, what was it like for you guys to be back?
Well, it was exciting. There was a lot of energy. There was a lot of, because it's a little bit, it's an interesting community, right? It's a lot of fun, right? It's a lot of influencers. It's a lot of architects. It's designers. It's kitchen dealers. We do have appliance retailers there, right? But it's not just, appliances. There's countertops. There's cabinetry. I mean, there's anything to do with the kitchen and bath is there. In addition, it wasn't just the kitchen and bath show. It was IBIS, right? The builder show. Right. So you're bringing all sorts of different groups of people together. So there was a lot of energy and a lot of excitement, right? Because people have not had a chance to interact with each other, similar to PrimeTime.
How about for you, John? Lang, I should say.
That's fine. I figured it was my turn. It was, it's great for me. I try to attend every year this show. And, I don't think John O'Halloran's been for a couple of years, but it's just great to be amongst a group of people that are, they're really engaged with their business, and they put their best foot forward typically in these shows, whether it be the booth type or people that are there. So it was great to be back in action. And frankly, while there were COVID concerns and they had some checks and balances in terms of getting into the show, I think for the most part, folks didn't wear masks. We'd say probably only 20% of the people were wearing masks inside the show floor. And John and I are perfectly healthy after 2 shows and coming back, shaking a lot of hands and kissing a lot of babies.
No, that's
which feels good,
yeah, that's awesome.
And I think it also goes to show that there's people who are just comfortable being back in person with each other. So
yeah,
it's nice to see, it's like life is back,
I hear you. And to your point, we can kind of go back to that experience term, right? The booths I know are if you go from a show like Primetime, where, I mean, not to say booths are not experiential, we found that they were, and you're certainly getting a lot of, up close and touching of product and things like that. But the way, having been to KBIS and seeing what they do there, they really lean into that experience, right? And this being in the first show back, and coming off of a virtual show where it was like these virtual booths and things like that. I know they did it up, right? So what, explain the difference to someone who's never been to KBIS, what it's like going from a Primetime booth to, some of the stuff that you see at KBIS.
Well, I think, and I'll sum it up when we talk about, the GE monogram and the whole GE experience that they had there, right? But it's these shows are international. So you're getting people from all over the world. So it's a platform that allows these manufacturers to really showcase and debut the latest and greatest in innovations. And to do that, they have to do it in an environment, right, that meets the expectations, right? So what do I mean by that? We had the first experience we had when we walked into the show is it was GE Profile, Cafe, and Monogram. And so we walked right into the Cafe booth. And there was 3 separate booths, right? But they were all lined up next to each other. And in the center of the booth, it was set up like a jewelry store. Okay.
Interesting.
The cafe is known for somewhat customization. You've got these different color options, right? It's beautiful products. And so they had 2 individuals behind the counter that were like acting like jewelers. And you would talk with them, and they would break out a jewelry box, and they would have the different color selections in a jewelry box, like in these little chips. It was just an incredible presentation, right? So it set the tone and the mood for as you're walking around and interacting with their team and experiencing the product and having conversations with people. So that was really, really neat. Then to Monogram, which is, one of our, very strong partners here. They had the booth set up into like really 3 different, almost like villas. Okay. They had a farm, a mountain, and a beach type experience. All right. So it's a completely different experience that people have when they walk through, and it gives I think the vendors, right, and the designers that are helping them with their booths really an opportunity to say there's no limits in what we can do. Right.
Wow.
And because of it, GE between the 3 booths won best in show for the booth.
Yeah.
John, I don't know if you want to add anything to it, but it was neat.
Yeah, no, I did. It's an amazing experience, I guess, to go to a kitchen and bath show or builder show, both because they put their best foot forward. It was a little unusual at this show to see some empty spaces that people pulled out, like Bosch did at the last minute. There were a number of other ones that either didn't show anything or they showed 5 pieces in a 2,000 square foot booth. It was just a little weird. However, those that did show, I think like Z-Line Kitchen, they were showing some new products. So unlike Primetime, where you had full access to what you could see, you couldn't even get in the booth without some person going in with you because they were showing some new stuff. So I think on a kitchen and bath show, they will show some new products, And it's their opportunity to showcase the brand. So it's a little more brand focused, I would say, big picture, in addition to showing some new products.
Mr. Lang, having been to a number of these shows over the years, talking about how John described that GE experience and sort of the way they presented themselves, is that common? Has that changed over time? How has the KBIS experience sort of evolved from your perspective?
I don't think it really has. It's a little unusual, as I said, on Extra Space, but people always have been putting their best foot forward since the KBIS and IBS joined hands in terms of having a show together, which was, 13, 14 years ago. It is a great show from the clientele of people that come. I mean, there's people that come with a lot of money. They're always dressed very nicely, and they're ready to talk business. And you look at booths like Kohler and Delta and some of these people in the bath business, and what they put forward in a show is incredible. So it hasn't changed that much. It was just a little bit weird from what normal is in terms of participants.
Well, one thing that always interests me is the consumer tech background, right? Is seeing technology kind of infused into this show too. Did you guys notice that this year? Was there a lot more emphasis or more than normal on just the amount of like smart features and things like that in product?
I think everybody's talking about the smart, and the connected home, which is a big, buzzword. But it was more showcasing what I've experienced, right? In innovation was not necessarily focused on techie type things.
Sure.
It was more on design. Okay.
Yep.
For example, we saw and I think it was actually one of the winners of Best in Show. LG has an elevated brand, SKS, Signature Kitchen Suites, and they debuted a 48-inch French door fully integrated refrigerator. Right, it's a
lot
completely
of
new
food you can
platform.
fit in there.
Yeah, oh yeah, well, it was beautiful, right? Because
Absolutely,
we're used to seeing in a built-in application a 48-inch is a side-by-side. So to have a French door, and then you had the innovation, right, was the size, but it was also you had in the drawers, in the freezer drawers, one of them was convertible, so it could also be a refrigerator. And they also incorporated their one drawer was dedicated solely to ice. So you had normal cubes, but then you had their craft ice, right, which are the nice balls that they have. They're clear ice. So that was more of the innovation that I experienced. I don't know if you saw anything different, John, but it was more focused on design, I would say.
Yeah. So I would just add to that, I guess, that connected home products where you can really make a difference in the consumer's life is becoming the norm. You have to have it just to get in the game. And then, are you doing the right things to get it connected to the whole system, whether it be with Nest or some other whole home solution to manage the environment. One winner is a vendor partner of ours, LG, had the best connected home product in a air purifier. So, it is becoming more prevalent, but it's almost just the entree to being in products. I would say, water heaters we looked at, that's definitely going to be, that is a connected home product today and is getting more and more so. Anything to affect the consumer's lives and make it better, if we can do so with adding innovation in the connected home, it's definitely prevalent in new products.
No, that's awesome. Now, how obviously, talking to both of you, you have different approaches to just what you do here at Nationwide between the luxury space and appliance and outdoor. Do you guys take those similar, the different approaches to how you go about, engaging with the KBIS and walking around the show floor?
So I guess I'll start. I mean, I have more tribal knowledge on how the show works, the layout. I've been to the facilities before. So it helps, frankly, just, getting around and staying coordinated, because we visited, some 60 booths, 60 booths while we were there, and had conversations with a lot of folks, obviously. Some of those are existing vendors of ours, and some are prospective vendors that have an interest in Nationwide. You'll talk to Mark Spear, I think, who's with Nationwide, was there on the market or product business development side, and he can give you his report out. But we're there to find products that best match our membership and things that they can be successful. So I was trying to do, I guess, follow John O'Halloran for the first day on luxury products, and then kind of do my own thing, looking at other new vendors and such.
John, before you dive into luxury, I one follow-up for you. What is outdoor like there? Because I can't imagine you're seeing a lot of grills at KBIS and things like that. But what is that? What's the outdoor presentation like, and what does it bring to the table?
Yeah, so it's not as certainly prevalent as what you would see at other shows like the Hearth and Patio Show, maybe even National Hardware Show. So, there were a few grill vendors there, and I made a point, John and I saw one luxury grill vendor that we're very encouraged by, that we hope to forge a partnership with. But it's definitely different than the big shows. No outdoor cooking, backyard kind of thing.
It's unfortunate, missed opportunity. Because
Yes.
How about on the luxury side?
Well, I think just to add, because of the luxury was a big focus for what we're trying to do and establish, connect with current vendor partners there, see what they had, as well as, like John said, who there's other people and other vendors that are interested in talking to us, because of what we're doing on the luxury side. So, but we did this very much in tandem. And we were, side by side going after and talking, engaging with people. John's got a lot of experience in relationships through his career, right? Outside of Nationwide, inside of Nationwide, as well as I do. So it was a great compliment, and it was an honor to walk around with John, because his pace of getting around to see as many people as we saw was amazing. He said we saw close to 60 vendors. I was there at the show for one day, right? But it was very much, I think it was a pleasure to work with John on this, because we just really complimented the conversations we had, and really showed, the importance and, how serious we are and what we're trying to do to support our members, right? Whether it was outdoor, whether it was luxury, whether it was premium appliances. We were able to cover all aspects of our merchandise for the appliance business.
Sounds busy. It kind of overwhelms me to think about that number of booths in a single day for you guys. But that also means you got the opportunity to see a lot of product, and hear about, how those products are being presented and pitched, and get a good sense of kind of what these brands, what these vendors are focusing on. So to both of you, was there any specific trend from this show that stood out as you go around talking to all these vendors?
I'll just start with, they did not win an award that I'm aware of, but Beko, BEKO, one of our the fastest growing appliance brand within the house of Nationwide, had new dishwashers that they were showing at Kitchen to Bath. They had showed them at PrimeTime as well, but had a little more flair to, showing the dishwasher and how it worked at this show. That product comes out in April, very, very cool. But, beyond the product itself, there's a message from Zach Alkin, the CEO of the US, that, they're on this path of sustainability globally. And, they're showcasing products that help prove that out, i.e. a new refrigeration product that's coming out this summer. They were privately showing that, and will help keep your food fresh even longer than their current system. So those kinds of things, and the fact that they're, using plastic water bottles in some of their insulation product, and just little things like this, Beko is on top of their game when it comes to that.
Yeah, and I think about my experience hearing from their global CEO at IFA a couple years ago, and you mentioned them in sustainability. Arçelik, I think I'm saying that, Arçelik, the parent brand. I think about the laundry, the laundry pair that they showed up in, microplastics being a big focus on filtering those out, and just so it's cool to hear about how that filters down to all of their brands as well, and including here in the US with Beko. So that's awesome. That's cool to hear. How about other John? What kind of trends stood out to you at the show?
Well, I think sustainability is an important trend in our industry today, and more vendors are trying to maintain or trying to have more sustainable practices. It was a lot of it, design. When you think luxury, high design. So, I mentioned the SKS 48-inch fully flush refrigerator, right? That's a new design. monogram, bespoke, right, is a big term, right? So how do you customize? And that's part of luxury, right? Something that's customized and personal to the individual. So what was neat for Monogram is they launched a whole new collection, right? They had some custom hoods that were titanium, and one was titanium and one was brass. And they also had some custom handle options now that were available that John and I saw. We saw, and it's not just, refrigerators that some people are used to when you put a custom wood panel on a refrigerator and you add in a custom handle to match your hardware. It was on their new professional range. They actually had a leather handle, it looked beautiful. So I think customization, manufacturers are trying to get a little bit more involved in that. GE's done a great job on the cafe side of doing that, right? And so I think we're starting to see that now evolve more onto the monogram side. So it'll be interesting. It'll be an interesting trend to see what other manufacturers do. But other brands, that we spoke to, like Miele, for example. They won an award for their new 7000 series combi steve oven that's 30 inches wide, okay, which is a unique piece. So a lot of high design, I think, when it comes to the ultra premium, and that's what the vendors are trying to do, because that's what the luxury consumer is looking for today.
Right.
Yeah, we had the care for wine as well in there. A lot of new products to care for wine. I forget the vendor, John O, that had the wine in a drawer, a cabinet drawer, but you could explain that for a second.
Yeah. So Dometic, which is actually a Swedish company. I pronounced it correctly, right, John? Dometic?
Yes.
So it was probably one of my favorite pieces I saw because it was so innovative, I thought. But what it is it's wine storage is becoming more and more popular, right? Especially as people are spending more time at home and they want to showcase their wine for entertaining purposes, or they're just looking for better solutions for wine storage. So they have a drawer. Okay. So everybody has a utensil drawer in their kitchen, right? Rob, you've got one.
Okay? Absolutely.
And the idea is you can remove the drawer from utensil drawer, and they've got a wine refrigerator that slides into that space, and you can install it inside that existing drawer space. And now you have refrigerated wine storage for 4 bottles of wine.
Forks, spoons, knives, wine. I'll take the wine. I'll take the wine.
How about that,
sign
right?
Me up. That's awesome.
So, and it even gave you the ability to, you had a nice clean front that had almost like a stainless finish, but then you also had the ability to do a custom wood panel, right? So it would blend in seamlessly with your kitchen.
I like that a lot.
Yeah. And so that was a neat product. And I think that's a brand that you'll start to see a little bit more in the United States here in the future.
What opportunities exist? We've talked a lot about the product and innovations and trends you guys saw out of this show. How about, bring it back to our retailers, our dealers here at Nationwide. What could they take out of this show and kind of looking to the rest of this year and beyond? What opportunities exist for them, coming out of this show?
Well, I think the single biggest opportunity that I'll speak to is the opportunity within the luxury space, right? We weren't able to attend a lot of the educational sessions, but I do want to let people know that if you're listening, you can go to the Kitchen and Bath website, and they have a lot of their sessions on demand, so you can watch and understand some different trends. Trends is the luxury space is very healthy, so we see that inside our channel. Fully expect to see the luxury space continue to grow and be a healthy segment of the business next year and the next couple of years. And that was very apparent when in a lot of the conversations that were had at the show. So the opportunity is, I think this is a very important space. It's important space to our channel because it's very difficult for, say, big box type vendors or retailers to execute. And this is where, this is, our specialty, right? We've got a highly educated sales professionals. We've got highly educated delivery and installation crews. And we provide the experience that we were talking about, right? And our members there's no one better than our members that can do that. So exciting time to be in the luxury space. And I think the biggest opportunity is how do we continue to, as Nationwide, help support our members to make sure that they continue to be the leaders in their respective marketplace.
Yeah, I guess my two major takeaways is the status of our current business, how good it is, and then two would be new products and verticals. So a status of our current business. Well, if you've been around our industry for any length of time, you know that this is the best time to be in the appliance business as a rule, and the kitchen and bath business. There's more disposable income that people are still sitting on that they're ready to spend if they can find someone that they can count on to actually remodel their kitchen, or they can find a new construction company that will actually build them the new house. And this is going to continue for at least the near future, 2022, maybe into 2023, just because of the money that's available, the interest rates, the lack of inventory. We couldn't be living in a better time to be in the appliance business. We just got to find enough product for them to be able to sell. The second piece is new verticals. You attend these shows and frankly, PrimeTime, to learn about what kind of products you aren't selling today that maybe could help balance out your portfolio and safeguard you against major issues of one particular vendor or a particular category. So that's a big focus in my world, and the appliance team works hard on trying to find some of those options. And the business development side, which you'll hear from Mark Spear, is working hard on products and services that maybe aren't in our bailiwick today that we can leverage.
Oh, that's awesome. And last, probably most important question. You mentioned all the time at the GE booth. Did either of you get the chance to rub shoulders with Gwyneth Paltrow? Because I know she was there, wasn't she?
She was not there.
Oh,
she got COVID. She got COVID.
Oh no!
She did.
Oh no!
You did, but again, that's a video that our members can watch on demand. And
there you go.
And I do want to mention too, I didn't bring it up because they weren't on the show floor, but we also had an opportunity. We announced, one of our new vendor partners, Decor, right? And they had an offsite booth in the Top Golf parking lot. And so we had an opportunity to go and to be the Decor team and see the latest and greatest in product innovation from them. So we're really excited as we continue, because we launched that partnership is very fresh, right? And we executed that within like the 48 hours prior to PrimeTime, right? So we look forward to getting to work on them as well as with Thermador, and coming up with some really exciting opportunities for our members to grow in those categories, right? Those brands.
Yeah, it's so experience and opportunity. Those are the two things I kind of pull out of this conversation and this podcast, because there's plenty of ways to, as we saw at PrimeTime and through KBIS, to create these experiences for customers in your retail locations, and all that does is open up the opportunity for new product and just potential to succeed in this space. So John and John, I appreciate you guys taking the time and diving into this with us. It was great to catch up, and maybe go take a nap. The two of you. I allow you to go take a nap after this podcast and catch up on the sleep that you've missed over these last few weeks. So thank you guys.
Well, thanks, Rob. I think now's the time to get to work, right?
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you, Rob. Thanks, John.
Thanks, Rob.
Awesome. And thanks again to John L. and John O. for taking the time and putting some of that eye makeup on under, hiding the bags under their eyes and diving into this with us. I know they've been incredibly busy over these last few weeks, so just appreciative of them, spending a few minutes to chat about what they saw at the shows. So, but as always, we appreciate you listening to the Independent Thinking Podcast, and we will catch you next time.